Look, here's where we're at. Spring ball has really been about, um, you know, teaching our guys how to prepare. Um, I talked to you about, our preparation, and before we can, talk about success as a football team during the regular season, we have to understand how to prepare the right way and practice, and practicing efficiently. Is really what our focus is. And the first couple of days you're in helmets, and so how do you practice the right way and compete against each other and tag off, and then you put the shoulder pads on and you want to maybe thud up the back and be able to do that the right way, and then you tackle. And so each one of those stages is about how you practice the right way, and you then lead into, a competitive situation like we had today. And each one of them's been a learning experience for a football team. They had to learn how to practice with tempo and speed the first couple of days in helmets. Then when we were tagging off the back, how to do that without grabbing the back and pulling them down and not creating a situation where we couldn't be productive in just shoulder pads. And then today, how do we flip the switch from practice to a competitive environment at the end of practice? And if you guys were there, you probably saw that we couldn't do that, right? We couldn't change the way we looked at the last few periods. It was just a practice during those last 3-4 periods. It wasn't a competitive, spirited scrimmage, and that's a process for our guys. So the long and short of it is, I'm so excited because I'm teaching our guys how to prepare, and I really can't worry much about, who's the number one corner, who's the second quarterback, who's the number 2 left tackle, because all the work here is in our preparation and how we're practicing and preparing the right way. So when we get into the season, I'll know that if we're preparing the right way, all that other stuff will take care of itself. So that, by and large, is where we're at right now, and I'm not really concerned about who the starting corner is and who the starting left tackle is. That will take care of itself and kind of sort itself out as we get further into spring ball, preseason camp, and our opener against Florida State. So that's just the preface of where we are, and then I'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Coach. Glenn West with LSU Country right here. I guess just kind of talk about where you guys, installation-wise, just through 2 weeks, how the players have been picking things up and that nature of it.
Yeah, I think that we've thrown a lot offensively at them. There's anytime you have a different system, there's going to be some learning, a learning curve there. Again, I think what I'm most interested in is retention from one day to the next. They're going to make mistakes. But I think what we're evaluating is who are the guys that are able to retain the information, and then what kind of learners are they? Are these guys that are, do they learn by watching film? Do they learn by walkthrough? Do they learn by taking reps? And so we're kind of working through that process right now. So, this is our 5th practice, and we're getting a better understanding of, say, for example, how Nussmeier learns versus how, Brennan learns. And that's kind of the process that we're in right now.
Hey, Coach Jacques Doucet, WAP-TV. Just curious, what's your view in terms of media coverage right now during this time of year? Do you believe we can see more because it's not so tactical or giving away to other opponents, and then in the fall you cut back? Just curious. We haven't watched the full practice in a long time.
Yeah, I wanted to allow access so you could get a better sense of, who we are and what we're about, because you have no idea, right? I mean, and I thought it was important to give you a glimpse at that. And I think we've laid that out pretty carefully throughout the spring, so you'll walk away and get a better sense of, okay, we got a pretty good sense of how he's going to prepare his football team and his players, right? As we get into the season, yeah, it becomes a little bit more tactical, and there'll be some access, but it won't be as universal as it is right now. Yep.
Hey, Coach Koki Riley from the Daily Advertiser. I was curious, through 5 practices, is there anything about your team that sort of surprised you so far from a more of a big picture standpoint?
No, I don't know that I'm surprised. I like their willingness to adapt to each day. There's been a lot for them to handle. This is quite different for them. Different in the way that we're preparing them. So I think they've done a really good job with routines, because we've changed their routine. And routines are about, I got to do this at 12. I got to be here at 3. But they have habits that have been instilled in them as well. And we're trying to reshape habits, and that takes longer. And I think what I'm most pleased with is that they're willing to do away with old habits, and at the same time stick to some of these routines that we've built in. So I don't know that surprised as much as pleased with their willingness to do what's necessary in my opinion, to be a championship team.
Coach Chessa Boucher with NBC 33 here in Baton Rouge. Miles Brennan, he's been around this program a long time, had 2 defensive-minded coaches. How valuable is it for him to learn from someone like you who is so offensive-minded?
Well, I think that was part of the reason that he shared with me that he decided to come back. I think that he wanted to be in a system where the head coach was involved with the quarterbacks. Part of the system is certainly quarterback friendly. The head coach is involved in it. I think that had a lot to do with it. And he's a Tiger. I mean, he loves LSU, and you can see he's in so much better shape. He's physically in a good spot, mentally he's in a good spot, and he's a veteran, and that is such a great commodity to have in college football today.
Yeah, Brian, Ron Higgins, Tiger Details, Rivals.com. In just 5 practices, is there any position group you've noticed that you thought, man, they've made a little bit of improvement here? I can see some improvement in this group.
I like the versatility of the safety group. There's a little bit more versatility that maybe I didn't see early on. You see, Brooks and Fouché and Sage and Tolles and Davis is flipping around. I mean, there's a little bit more depth and flexibility at that position than maybe I first thought, and that to me, again, we use words, like surprise, but I'm more pleased with that result than maybe I was coming in.
Hey, Coach. Bree Andrus, LSU Tiger TV. What have you seen from the guys that have transferred that are from Louisiana, Joe Fouché, Kyron Lacey, that have transferred to LSU? How have you seen them grow since they've been here, and what do you think they bring to the team?
Well, from the very beginning, they have embraced, the standards that we have set. They have been leaders. They certainly are excited about their opportunity here. So you could you could tell that, from the very, very beginning. And so because of that, they've been embraced immediately. A number of them have been, very visible in terms of what they've done from a football standpoint too, not just in the off-season workouts. So by and large, I think it's been a real healthy addition to our program thus far.
Hey, Coach Shea with 24/7. A guy like Tyrann Mathieu and his background and, getting to where he is now, when you invite him to be around the team and to speak to him, what do you hope to get out of that?
Well, his journey is so compelling, right? I mean, dismissed from the program, but yet, gave back financially to the university. That doesn't happen from Louisiana, and overcame so much, and such a an incredibly productive player for LSU. The Chuck McNair Award winner. And so when you put all that together, what makes this guy tick? He's 5'9", and what makes him tick is, the things that I talk about, his traits. He's built on the fundamentals of attention to detail and commitment and hard work. And so we were able to share his story with our team, and it came from him. It wasn't from the head coach. It was Tyrann Mathieu talking about it. And so that resonates, right? It's not the head coach talking about it. It's a guy that they revere. And he's talking about, listen, if you're not 20 minutes early for a meeting with me, you got a problem. And so when you have somebody of that stature amongst your team talking in the same terms that I've been talking about, certainly it resonates.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for letting us stay. It was helpful. The thing that struck me, I guess, was the varying degrees of talent and experience that you're operating with right now. And I know this might be a time for evaluation. I'm just curious, how do you and your staff measure the differences when you're looking at reps that you're getting from these guys?
Yeah, so we haven't got into that yet. Next week, we'll begin to start looking at how we begin tailoring reps to depth within the program. I told our coaches for the first 5 practices, we're just getting everybody work. And now there's certain guys that are new to the program and are not scholarship players that certainly are not getting the same amount of work. But we wanted to try to make sure that we were fairly equal across the board. We'll start to now tier that work going into the second week and begin looking at rotations and things of that nature.
Brian Wilson-Alexander with The Advocate. Mike Jones said that he came here last year to play inside after being more of a hybrid at Clemson, and now it seems like he's been doing that at least through the first start of the spring. What do you like about him at that true inside linebacker spot? What kind of makes him stand out?
Well, he's got athleticism, certainly. He's a really good athlete. He's physically strong. Look, we brought in Wes Weeks because we wanted to add some more experience at the position. I think what we felt like we were missing was communication skills, and he does a really good job now of communicating. That position, it's right down the middle. It's the quarterback. It's the center of the middle linebacker. You need a great communicator, and he's taken that and he's run with it. So you need a communicator in the middle of your defense. He's doing that. He has the skill set and he has experience, and so it's been so far it's been a good transition for us with him in the middle.